Guys, Jungle Bob here. So this video is going to be on a Craftsman handheld blower that the recoil string is stuck on. It's too cold to work outside, so this is going to be a unique video shot inside the house. Not on the kitchen table like William, but inside the house nonetheless. And I'm not going to have use of a tripod, so it's going to be a lot of clips. And so if you're interested, stay tuned. Here it is. It's a Craftsman handheld leaf blower. Kind of older one, 205 miles per hour. I couldn't find a model number. Anyway, it's cold outside today. It's like 11 degrees, so thought I'd do a video. I wasn't going to do one, but this old crappy blower, it's got a bad recoil on it. I'm filming this inside, in my room, on the bed. So, but anyway, you can see the recoil won't go back in. You can kind of push it and get it to go. But it's messed up. It wasn't running good. I worked on this a couple years ago for the guy, and it's been sitting around. He's going to try to sell it, but he's a commercial guy, so this is like a toy to him. But I got it running. It's just a carburetor adjustment, so yeah. I don't know if y'all can see under there, but there's two carburetor screws under there, like on all normal two-cycle stuff. But we got it running. I'll show you that once we get it back together. But I've never taken one of these apart before. Apparently it's an involved deal. You've got you got to take this whole plastic piece off, apart, the whole case apart, to get to the recoil. So I'm just going to start taking screws out. So far I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out. And I'm going to bring my tripod in here, and looks like I'm going to have to take these two off. So we're going to take some more stuff off, and I'll come back to you. So the next step is this muffler cover has to come off. It's 2 Phillips head screws that go there. And then there's 2 more Allen head. Let's see. There's one there and one right down in there that's got to come loose. And now this thing's kind of freed up pretty good. It looks like the handle is the only thing holding it, and I've got the screws out for the handle. I think you have to pry it out somehow in here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back to you. So indeed, the fan's got to come off here. So it's a 1/2 inch thing. Look at this. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I got this whole bed in the spare bedroom back here. I got it all apart. Got to work inside. Got to get this done. I'm just bored sitting around doing nothing. But anyway, so it's a 1/2 inch. And I just kind of held the fan and loosened this nut up. And we'll take that out. So the nut comes off. And then this is the starter paw for it. No, this is the blades for the chopper. It's got a vac that hooks up to the bottom here that'll chop up leaves. So we're going to pull that off. See how it's one-way oriented, so you can't get it backwards. And then there's a washer right there. And then this fan should just come off. I'm trying to do it without having to take the carburetor loose on the other side and stuff, so I'm going to have to get that off somehow. It should just come on off. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so now we've got the fan off, and I didn't have to take the other side loose. If you wiggle with it and play with it, you can get it off. Then there's going to be 1, I think 2, and another screw here, just to get this cover off, and hopefully that'll get us to the recoil. I'm hoping I don't have to pull this off for some damn reason or another. It looks like it's cut out and it'll slip over it. I don't know. If that has to be the case, it may not get fixed. Damn thing's getting on my nerves. So now I'm on the other side. I am going to have to take the carburetor loose, which I got it loose here. And there's 2 more bolts holding this intake on. You got to tear this whole damn thing down just to change the recoil. Definitely not worth it. but we're going to do it anyway because that's how we can roll. Alright, so I got that, I undid that intake, and you see how it's got a little foam pad that sits around, and there it is. Now it looks like everything's going to fall through, and when I took the carburetor loose, I didn't undo the fuel lines. I just kind of pulled this grommet loose a little bit there, and then on the other side, I left the gas tank attached like that so we could just take this off as one piece. That way we ain't got to mess with that. So finally, there's your recoil. It looks like that rope's wrapped around the screws down there, see? See how that is? Sure, that's not how it's supposed to be. But to get to that, you got to take this. So the labor, can you imagine the labor on this, just breaking this whole sumbitch down just to change the recoil? Damn. Alright, we'll keep progressing here, boys. So, we got the screws loose, we got this loose. Look at this recoil, it just slides. It slides on that shaft, you have to pry it up, and then that little, it's got a locking groove that goes into the side to catch it. It's weird. Success. So there's your starter pause. There's your recoil. It's just a standard recoil. Looks like it's a little rusty. A little rusty. So now we can figure out, we're going to clean it up and grease the spring up and get it working good again. And then put it all back together. That's a pain in the ass, let me tell you. The recoil works pretty good. I don't really see a problem with it, other than I'm going to put a little shot of grease in there. But it looks like mainly the shaft right here is rusted. I'm going to put some grease on this little sleeve that goes in the middle of here. That's what it rides on. So we're going to just sand all this stuff up and put some fresh grease on here. It had grease at one time. And put it back together that way. So I got it back together. I greased up everything. Like I said, it seemed like it was working fine. I got it back together and it was still binding up. Turns out there was too much rope on the spool, so it was causing it to bind up. So now it works fine. I don't know if I can do this. Anyway, I'll just pull it out. You can see it goes right back in now. So let's see if that works. This part back together first, and fan goes back on like that. Little groove that lines up. Then you got a washer. And we're gonna put the cutter back on. It only goes one way. And then we'll put the nut on. And we'll tighten that up, and then we're going to set this back in the case and put the, I think the carburetor and gas tank back together, and that intake piece back on. Yep. Let's hope this works, because I ain't taking it apart again. So we're going to put this back in. You can see how the curvature is on that piece. Match it up to the, well, we'll have to start over now. There we go. Anyway, that curvature there matches the curvature on here, so slides back into this foam piece there. And then put your two screws in and attach your carburetor. Oh, guys, I could never get the tripod in here, but so the carburetor goes on top of the manifold that way. Then this cover has to go back on, or cover base. Kind of have to just fit it around and get the primer bulb hole worked through. And you got your two long screws that go through the carburetor. Make sure your fuel lines are on, and now is a great time to replace them if they're in bad shape. So we're going to get this on here and tighten down. And I'll be back. Then next is this little cover. Boom. 2 screws there and there. Now we're going to put the muffler back on, and this piece fell out. It goes in the muffler just like that. You want to get your gasket back on there, and I don't remember if it went that way or this way. See which way the muffler blows. Goes just like this. So we're going to put the muffler on, and also when you're putting this back in, this piece falls out right here. It's a little silver thing, and what it's there for, it's slotted, and it goes right in here. And when you put your recoil cord back on, you want to pull the cord around here so it has a little round off place to go, and then your eyelet goes right there. So let's get that done. So now we're ready to put the cover back on, and you got this rubber bushing. I guess it's a dampener vibrator or whatever. And that's how this is supposed to look right there with that cord around there. Then the cover should just, oh yeah, get your spark plug grommet back in there. And this should just slide right over if I did everything right. Good and tight. Alright. Now we can put the muffler on, which it goes like this. It goes like that. I gotta kind of finagle it in there. Anyway, let me get that on there. We're going to put the muffler on, tighten that up, and then we're going to try to get this handle back on and put all the screws back in on here and see what happens. Before you tighten this case all the way up, leave you enough to wiggle this thing back in there, or you'll have to take all your screws back out. So it's got a little nub, goes in like that, and then you can just pry this case up a little bit and slide the other one in. So don't forget that. To get this cover back on, you got 11 screws, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 2 right here, 10 and 11. And all of these are the same size. Everything on here is the same size coming out except for these 2 screws right here that hold this cover on. And they're all plastic threads. And they had these little short ones. All the other ones are a little bit longer. So we've got this back on. We're going to put the tube on it. We got the leaf blower. So what you do is, if you want to mulch some leaves up, cut leaves up, you just release this little catch pin here and pull this off and hook your hose up to it. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Oops. Forgot to put the air filter back in. I'll have to do that. And then we're going to take it outside and fire it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. Oh, we got it all back together. It's not rattling around. No parts left over. So I'm assuming we did everything okay. Put some gas back in it. Now on this one it says to prime the primer bulb about 8 times. Put it in rabbit fast. And then choke all the way down. Pull it till it hits the wood. Alright. So then it says move it to half choke. I did something wrong. I have to adjust that carb again. May not have enough gas to put very much. There we go. Now it's priming again. Optimus priming. Diesel a little bit. Let's see if it'll crank back up. It's a little cold out. I haven't got much gas in it, but anyway, so that's it. So I know I said I wasn't going to do a video today. It's cold as a motherfucker out here. But there you go, fellas. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, ring that bell, and leave some comments. Once again, Merry Christmas. Jungle Bob out.